They say the dead never truly die. Not when their name still echoes through the streets. And in the Power universe, one name refuses to fade. Ghost. Fans are whispering again. Threads are lighting up, and theories are spinning out of control. Season 3 of Power Book 4, Force has dropped hints that feel too deliberate, too sharp, too haunting to ignore. Could James St. Patrick, the man who built the Empire and lost it all, actually be back? Or is this just the ghost of our obsession refusing to rest? Whatever it is, the streets of Chicago are talking, and the legend of Ghost is rising once again. Ghost wasn't just a man, he was a symbol. A businessman in a killer's world. A dreamer in a city that devoured dreams. From the first episode of Power, James St. Patrick wasn't just running nightclubs and drug deals. He was running from himself. The duality of Ghost was what made him unforgettable. He wanted to be clean, to leave the streets behind. But every choice he made pulled him deeper into the darkness. His name wasn't just a nickname. It became a prophecy. He lived like a shadow, unseen in plain sight, and even in death, his presence never left. When Ghost was killed in Power's final season, fans thought it was over. The end of an era. The fall of the Empire. But what came after proved something deeper. Ghost was bigger than death. His influence bled into every spin-off. Power Book 2. Ghost carried his name. Raising Kanan showed how the world that created him was born. And Force showed the only man who truly understood him, Tommy Egan, still fighting his demons. And in that fight, Ghost's shadow still lingers. Tommy doesn't speak Ghost's name much, but when he does, it hits hard. Every choice Tommy makes, every risk, every war, every straight alliance feels like he's trying to prove something to his brother, even from beyond the grave. It's like Ghost's death never truly freed him. It only chained him to a memory he can't outrun. And that's what's making fans look closer now. Because Power Book 4, Force Season 3 doesn't just feel like Tommy's story anymore. It feels like Ghost's unfinished business is finally catching up. You see, Ghost's presence in the Power universe isn't about body or blood. It's about legacy. When Tommy walks into a new deal, when he stares out over Chicago's skyline, there's a silence that speaks louder than words. It's the same silence Ghost used to stand in, watching his world crumble, planning his next move. That energy, cold, calculating, always 3 steps ahead, feels alive again in Season 3. Fans aren't just imagining it. There's something deliberate in the tone, the dialogue, and even the music cues. The story feels like it's preparing for a resurrection, not just of a man, but of everything he stood for. Because let's be honest, Ghost wasn't just about power or money. He was about control, about rewriting fate, about breaking out of the mold the world forced him into. And that's why his death never felt permanent. It felt like a setup, like a chess move we still haven't fully understood. In the Power universe, people don't just die, they transform. And Ghost might have been the master of transformation. He faked, planned, and manipulated everything to survive. What if his death was his greatest trick yet? Even years after, fans can't stop asking, where's the body? Why haven't we seen it? Why did every spin-off avoid showing his final moment in full clarity? Every time someone brings it up, the answer feels half-spoken, like the writers are saving something big. Maybe Ghost is gone. Or maybe he's watching quietly, patiently, waiting for the right moment to step back into the light. Because in stories like this, death isn't the end. It's just the start of a bigger myth. And in Force Season 3, every shot, every whisper, every silent stare feels like a heartbeat, one that sounds a lot like Ghost's. Something strange is happening in Power Book 4, Force Season 3. The streets of Chicago are louder, the tension thicker, and Tommy's silence heavier than ever. But underneath all that noise, there's a hum, a whisper that fans can't ignore. Ghost, somehow, someway, his name is being spoken again without ever being said out loud. And that's what's driving fans crazy. It started small. A few lines here and there that didn't mean much at first, until you listen twice. In the latest episodes, Tommy drops lines that sound like conversations he used to have with Ghost. I learned from the best, he says, eyes fixed on nothing, as if he's talking to someone who isn't there. Later, in another scene, a rival tells Tommy, "You act like a man who's seen death and didn't blink." That line hit the fandom like an explosion. Because if anyone taught Tommy how to face death, it was Ghost. Then came the imagery. The camera doesn't lie, and fans of Power know how to read every frame. In one episode, the lighting in Tommy's apartment shifts, shadows crossing his face in the same way they used to in Ghost's old penthouse. The reflection in the window almost looks like Ghost's suit silhouette. Just for a second, blink and you'll miss it. The cinematography isn't random. It's poetic. It's deliberate. The directors of Force are known for hiding clues in plain sight, and this feels like one of them. Social media lit up instantly. Reddit threads, TikTok theories, fun pages, all decoding the same question. Is Ghost alive? One viral post pointed out that the music in one scene subtly echoed Ghost's old theme, the same haunting tune used when he made major moves in the original Power series. If that's true, it means someone on the production team is intentionally calling his name through sound, not story. And in a show that thrives on hidden meanings, that's not something to overlook. But the biggest fuel to the fire came from Tommy's behavior. He's calmer now, more strategic, less impulsive. That's not the Tommy we knew. That's the Ghost way of thinking. Calculated, patient, always playing the long game. Fans believe that Tommy's evolution isn't just personal growth. It's mentorship beyond the grave. Some even theorize that Tommy is communicating with Ghost, maybe through dreams, maybe through memory, maybe even hallucination. The line between reality and guilt is blurry in Force, and Tommy's mind isn't exactly a safe place. But whether it's real or not, Ghost is there, guiding every move, every deal, every shot fired. Then came something no one expected: the leaks. A few months before the season dropped, a production list surfaced online showing the name James St. Patrick under a flashback credit. It vanished soon after, but not before fans took screenshots and shared them everywhere. Some claim it was an old file from Power Book 2, others swear it's from Force. The studio stayed silent. No confirmation, no denial. And silence in the Power universe speaks volumes. Even Omari Hardwick, the man behind Ghost, added fuel to the fire. In a recent interview, when asked about returning to the Power franchise, he didn't say no. He just smiled and said, "If the story's right, I'll always be Ghost." That one line set the internet ablaze, because that's exactly how Ghost would answer: cryptic, cool, and one step ahead. Some fans have gone even deeper. They're connecting scenes across the different Power series, finding patterns that all point back to Ghost's survival. In Power Book 2, Ghost, Tariq dreams of his father watching him. In Force, Tommy pauses before entering a deal, as if remembering something his brother once said. What if these moments aren't just nostalgia, but breadcrumbs, hints that Ghost has been quietly pulling strings behind the scenes? The theory that's gaining the most traction now is that Ghost faked his death, a classic move in his playbook. The body we saw wasn't his, or maybe he planned it all to escape and rebuild. Some fans think he's been in hiding, watching Tommy and Tariq rise and fall, waiting for the right time to return. The timing would make sense. Season 3 marks a shift in tone, darker and more psychological. The perfect atmosphere for a comeback that no one saw coming. Whether Ghost is alive or not, one thing is clear: the show wants us to ask these questions. The writing is teasing it, the visuals are hinting at it, and the fans are keeping it alive. Because Power has never been just about crime or revenge. It's about legacy, identity, and the ghosts we can't escape. And Tommy, for all his rage and rebellion, can't escape the biggest ghost of all, his brother. So maybe Ghost isn't gone. Maybe he never was. Maybe he's just waiting in the shadows, smiling that cold smile, watching Tommy's world burn, knowing he'll have to step in one last time to fix it. In the end, one truth always stands in the Power universe: no one really dies. Not when they still have power left to claim. The deeper you look into Power Book 4 for Season 3, the harder it becomes to dismiss the signs. Every scene feels like it's holding a secret, every conversation like a confession hiding between words. And when you line up the clues, piece by piece, they start to form something chilling, the outline of Ghost himself. Let's start with the first and loudest clue, the dialogue. Power has always used words like weapons. What characters say and don't say matters more than bullets. In one key scene this season, Tommy tells a new associate, "Some ghosts don't rest easy." It's a throwaway line on the surface, but if you know Tommy, you know he doesn't talk about death lightly. It's not just guilt, it's memory. That line hit fans like a thunderbolt because Tommy's entire arc this season feels haunted. Every time he wins, it feels like someone else's hand is guiding him. Every time he loses, it feels like karma meant for another man. That's not random. That's design. Now let's move to the second clue, a leaked production detail that fans caught before it vanished. Sharp-eyed followers noticed that one episode's closed captions listed a voice line under the tag ghost Omari Hardwick, even though no character by that name appeared on screen. The audio was faint, buried beneath background noise, a deep breath, or low whisper in Tommy's dream sequence. Some dismissed it as a mistake, but Power doesn't make mistakes like that. Every frame is crafted to provoke. If it was real, that single whisper might be the first true sign of Ghost's voice returning to the show. Then there's the visual symbolism, Power's favorite form of storytelling. In one chilling sequence, Tommy stands in his apartment, staring out a rain-soaked window. The reflection on the glass flickers for just a second, a figure in a suit behind him, standing perfectly still. The lighting shifts, and the figure disappears. Fans slowed the scene down frame by frame, posting screenshots online. Some say it's just the shape of a lamp, others swear they see Ghost's outline, the signature black suit, and pocket square. Whether it's intentional or not, the imagery feels loaded. In this world, reflections are never just reflections. They're reminders, and maybe warnings. The third clue takes us behind the scenes. An interview with Force director Lisa Demain stirred things up when she mentioned that this season explores unfinished business from Ghost's era. That phrase alone reopened the floodgates. What unfinished business could there be if Ghost is truly gone? The rivalry between Tommy and Tariq, the hidden money, the corrupt politicians, or maybe the old network Ghost built, the one no one ever fully dismantled. If those threads are resurfacing, then it makes perfect sense that the man who spun them might not be as dead as we were led to believe. But the most intriguing evidence might come from the structure of Power's storytelling itself. Every season mirrors something from Ghost's past. Season 1 of Force was Tommy trying to start fresh, just like Ghost tried to clean his life in Season 1 of Power. Season 2 was about old enemies returning, a callback to when ghosts, pun intended, came back to destroy him. And now, in Season 3, we're seeing what looks like resurrection. Cycles repeating, stories looping. That's not coincidence. That's foreshadowing. The writers are telling us that the past isn't done speaking. And then there's the connection no one saw coming. Claudia Flynn's cryptic line from Episode 4, "Power doesn't die, it just changes hands." On the surface, it's about control in Chicago's drug game, but Power fans know better. That line is the essence of the franchise. When Ghost died, his power didn't vanish. It spread. To Tommy, to Tariq, to the streets. But what if, instead of passing it on, Ghost was merely waiting to reclaim it? Social media detectives even noticed that Omari Hardwick's IMDb profile briefly updated months ago, listing Power Book 4, Force 2025 before being deleted. It could have been a fan edit or a slip-up by the studio. But it adds to the storm, one that's getting harder to ignore. The truth might be simpler, but more poetic. Maybe Ghost isn't coming back in flesh and blood. Maybe he's coming back through influence. Tommy's new strategies, his sudden shift from brute force to quiet manipulation, echo Ghost's signature style. In one scene, Tommy negotiates with a rival crew using the same phrasing Ghost once used with Milan in the original series, word for word. Fans spotted it instantly. That kind of writing isn't accidental. It's a deliberate mirror. A sign that Tommy's becoming Ghost, or maybe that Ghost never left him. And the final clue comes in the form of silence. Silence from the creators, the actors, and the studio. In the entertainment world, when something isn't true, they deny it immediately. But when something might be true, they say nothing. That silence has become the loudest confirmation fans could ask for. So when you pull all of this together, the dialogue, the whispers, the lighting, the leaks, the language, it starts to feel less like coincidence and more like conspiracy. Maybe Ghost is gone. Maybe he's waiting. Maybe he's already in the room watching Tommy rebuild what he once destroyed. Because in the world of power, ghosts don't haunt the living. They guide them. And Season 3 feels like Ghost's hand is back on the wheel. Every story in the Power universe runs on one thing: consequence. Every choice has a cost. Every betrayal leaves a scar. But underneath all that blood and ambition lies something else: design. The writers of Power never move without purpose. And when fans start seeing Ghost's fingerprints all over for Season 3, it's not by accident. It's storytelling logic, layered, strategic, and deliberate. If Ghost does return, it won't just be for shock value. It'll be because his story was never finished. Let's start with the obvious: money and momentum. The Power franchise is one of Starz's biggest engines. Every spin-off owes its roots to one man, James St. Patrick. His name built this universe, and his shadow keeps it alive. Bringing him back, even briefly, would be a masterstroke. It's not just fan service, it's emotional gravity. Viewers who drifted away after Power's finale would come running back to see how the impossible could happen. Ratings would spike, social media would explode, and the internet would tear itself apart with theories. But that's only the surface reason. The deeper one is narrative symmetry. Courtney Kemp, the creator, always described Ghost as a man trying to rewrite his destiny. His entire arc was built on transformation, from hustler to mogul, sinner to savior, father to ghost. But the final chapter of Power left a wound that never healed. Ghost's death was tragic, yes, but it felt incomplete. No body, no closure, just a gunshot and chaos. The writers know that. They left it open for a reason. They left space for mystery, for myth, for a return that feels earned. In the world of Power, death is not the opposite of life. It's a pause in it. Now, think about Tommy's arc in Force. From the beginning, his story was built as a mirror. Tommy is chaos where Ghost was control. He's the street while Ghost was the boardroom. But this season, that mirror is shifting. Tommy's not just reacting anymore, he's planning. He's strategizing, manipulating, calculating risks like a man possessed. That's not coincidence. That's evolution. Or maybe it's influence. Ghost's teachings were never just lessons. They were seeds. And for Season 3 feels like those seeds finally growing roots. From a writing standpoint, this is how you bring a dead character back without breaking the rules of realism. Through legacy, memory, and obsession. Ghost doesn't have to appear to be alive. He just has to feel alive. But then again, what if the writers want more than symbolism? What if they want resurrection? Not in the supernatural sense, but in the Power sense, a return built on secrets, misdirection, and power plays. Ghost's supposed death scene left too many unanswered questions. We never saw the full autopsy, never got a solid confirmation from any reliable source inside the story. What we did get was emotion, pain, confusion, revenge, all perfect tools for misdirection. If Ghost planned his death, he did it the way he did everything else, with precision. The writers could easily justify it. Maybe he was saved by a loyal insider. Maybe he went underground to dismantle his enemies quietly. Maybe he's been watching all along, waiting for Tommy to stabilize the streets before stepping back in. That kind of reveal wouldn't just shock audiences, it would redefine the entire franchise. There's also the theme of duality, one of Power's oldest and most poetic threads. Ghost was always fighting between two worlds, James St. Patrick the businessman and Ghost the killer. In Force, Tommy faces the same war inside himself. He wants peace, but the streets won't let him have it. From a creative perspective, Ghost's return could serve as Tommy's final test, a confrontation between the past and the present. Imagine the tension of Tommy meeting Ghost again, face to face, not as partners, but as reflections of what each man became. That kind of scene isn't just fan fiction, it's narrative destiny. And let's not forget the tone of Season 3 itself. The writing has shifted. The pacing is slower, the dialogue more introspective, the visuals darker. These are all signs that the show is preparing for something monumental. The world of Force has matured. It's no longer just about surviving. It's about legacy. That's the perfect soil for Ghost to reappear in, not as a man chasing power, but as one reclaiming meaning. Behind the camera, there's also a strong creative motive. Writers and producers know that audiences crave closure, not just action. Ghost was never the villain or the hero. He was both. His comeback could tie together loose threads from Power Book 2, Ghost, Raising Kanan, and Force, uniting the universe under one final master plan. The ultimate twist would be realizing that every spin-off wasn't a separate story. It was Ghost's blueprint unfolding from the shadows. And there's one more reason, the emotional payoff. The heart of Power has always been its characters, not its crimes. Ghost's return would bring full-circle moments for Tommy, Tariq, and even Tasha. Each of them lives with Ghost's ghost, literally and metaphorically. His presence defines their choices. To bring him back, even for a single episode, would be to close a wound the entire franchise has carried for years. So yes, maybe the writers are teasing us. Maybe they're planting clues that lead nowhere. Or maybe they're building towards something bold, a moment when the lights dim, the doors close, and a familiar voice says, "You didn't really think I was gone, did you?"